right, welcome to the Brand Identity Design Business Podcast. My name is Jason. I'm your host, and I have been doing this interview for almost this style of interview for almost 1.5 years. I think I started in 2022, completed around 111 plus episodes, produced over 8,000 minutes of content related to entrepreneurship through my show. I think globally I have reached 23 countries so far with my podcast, really ranking on the top on Southeast Asia and many other countries. A lot of my audience or listeners are primarily from North America and India, so I want to thank each and every listeners who support my show. I see Michael and I also see Natasha there down in the audience. So I wanted to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for helping me make this show a success. I have not been very comfortable with public speaking in general, so this has been amazing. I also want to thank Wade for also being a constant supporter over on LinkedIn. So let's actually start the show. So just in case if you guys are aware or unaware, this is season 4 which I'm currently doing, and season 4 will come to an end by October the 11th of 2023, which is next month. I'll wrap the season, take a break for about 2 months so that I can find new interesting people who can be on my show. And I think season 5 will start from January of 2024 onwards. If any of you folks who are listening to my podcast, if you ever want to be a guest on the show, doesn't matter how big your following is or what you have achieved from your business, as long as you have a good story and you know how to communicate with people, I am more than willing to have you as a guest on my show. Pretty simple process. DM me over LinkedIn or Clubhouse, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like, or visit my website IamJDesigns.co/guest, and I should be able to help you out. Now today's show, season 4 episode 24, it's about how to make a movie with Claudia, and this is the part 2. We spoke last time when we did the interview, we spoke about the different stages of film production. We also spoke about development stage, the importance of development stage, what does the development stage involve, like concept development, script writing, how to secure funding, rights, permissions, script development, etc. We also spoke about how to do a movie pitch, or also known as a movie proposal. We also spoke about how to find different mediums to secure funding for a movie project. Claudia gave us an overview of the cast and crew and their respective roles when it comes to making a movie. Now, on this episode, on part 2, we're going to be covering the other aspects of film production or how to make a movie. So I wanted to welcome Claudia. Thank you so much, Claudia, once again. She's a film and TV producer, director, and writer. She's also the founder of ReelSpot Films. Claudia has done production work for CBS, NBC We TV. She's also a digital marketer, very good with branding, similar to me, who also specializes in visual storytelling through films, TV shows, videos, radio, and using strategic product placement. We've also done an episode on product placement, so if you were to hit me up, I can share that episode as well. It's a really interesting episode which we did, I think, back in season 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I think it was fun. So let's actually start. I wanted to personally welcome Claudia. Thank you for joining once again. Let's have some applause.
Thank you so much, Jason. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here as always. Thank you so much for having me on Brand Identity this Design podcast. It's a true honor to be here with you, Jason, and all of these amazing listeners, as Jose, Michael, and Prez, and Don. Hi, everybody.
Absolutely. Empress is my good friend Natasha. High five to you, Natasha. I miss you, and thank you so much for supporting me regularly. Let's actually start with the interview. So my question to you is about the cast and crew. I know we spoke about it. So your cast and crew has a lot of people involved who help you to make the whole movie thing possible. So my question is, how do you work with the cast and crew in order to achieve like this cohesive vision for a film, because I think all of those people may have their personal preferences, or they may have their own creative differences. Like, I just want to understand, like, how this whole thing works.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Jason. Well, it's really interesting because for me, it's all about achieving a goal. And at the end of the day, you're just sharing a story. And you care about the story, about the vision that you want to bring to life. So when you hire or you put together, because I love more to see it as a collaborative environment, right? So you are getting you're assembling a team that will work along years, right? And basically production time and filming time, maybe for months. It could be more than that, depending on how long a season or a film, or if you're filming two, three parts of the film together. So those times varies in length. But I have to say that you become family. And having that on mind, you have to have that from the beginning. You have to choose a crew that you feel comfortable to work with. And some people also that challenge you, right? Because that's part of the dynamic. I think hearing and listening the different perspective is really beneficial for you as a creator if you are taking the role, let's say, as a director. There are some directors that doesn't like that because you're really focused on bringing a vision to life and they know exactly what they want and how they want to accomplish that. For me, I loved a different approach because I really love to hear and to work that character alone together with, let's say, the actor or actress. So if you allow them to have their input once you go to rehearsal, once you discuss the script, once you had all these conversations and you went through that process of casting, I think like if you are trusting um, that key member of your crew, which is the actor and or actress that will bring to life that character, I love to hear their perspective because there are so many movies that actually the character and the actress bring something to life that it was not scripted and it was not rehearsal. And actually, it was such an amazing piece that everybody remembered that role because of something that just came as spontaneously. So being open to those ideas, and it doesn't have to be just from your actors or your characters, right? It also goes to the creative side. So you are working alone with your DP, your director of photography. You're working with your production designer. So those key people that will bring you the aesthetics of the film, that will work with you in setting up the right color palettes, the right scenery, the right environment, like costumes. There are so many amazing, incredible people that their input, their professional input, their creativity, it's so valuable that if you miss that, I think like the end goal that is bringing to life that amazing story, it will fall short because it's just one perspective. That's a personal opinion, of course. You have to keep in line and you have to keep your goal there because at the end there is one voice, because if you have too many inputs, too many directions, it might dilute. But having that on mind and knowing what is the true voice of the story, then those inputs and those creative ideas and those different point of views, I think like they enhance so much that you have to be open to it. For me, it's really, really, really important to allow them to be creative, to feel in a safe space that they can share and that we can come together as a group, as a family, and at the end of the day, take the best decision for the story, for the group, for the team, and for the movie at the end.
I appreciate you guiding us, with all the good things, bad things, and how everyone works or contributes towards making this happen. This is really cool. I've also noticed on many director cuts I have watched, sometimes directors or cast members they let the person be themselves with their creativity to help to make the experience or what they are trying to produce something really cool. So, since everybody has their own creativity, as somebody who is leading the whole crew, when do you know that they should stick to the vision, and when do you know that let them do their magic, let them do their thing? Like, how do you understand, when to guide them or when to let them be themselves?
Well, that's a great question, Jason. I think like most of the part is with the end goal. So when you understand where the story is going, right? You understand what the character is going through, what are the arcs of that character, all the transitions that they are going through the film, and what you want to convey on the audience. I think like for me as director, it's really important to know at the end of this film, at the end of this story, how do I want my audience to feel? What I want them to take from this story. And when you have that end of mind, it's easier to guide because at the end of the day, you're just a guide. Everybody's doing their incredible work, and you're just there, um, putting together different visions, but at the end is one goal. And when you have that in mind, it's easier to allow them being creative on their own professional side and what they are bringing into the film. But also, it allows you to explore different ideas. At the same time, you just have that goal on in mind, right? So having that focal point is important because you will go through different transitions, usually because it's a process that is so long, especially when you are creating a movie from scratch. And if you are a director that also writes as well or is involved into the writing process, it takes longer. And many of the things might change as well. Stories most of the time change. They go to so many revisions that also happen in the process. But when you are attached, for me, what it works is attached to the feeling, so the emotion. And that's for me is a great anchor to be able to decide if that we are trying to include in this character, let's say that it could be something as simple as a costume. And that character is going through a deep transformation. And suddenly you want to use a color that might evoke a different emotion. Um, if it serves the purpose of the story and is aligned to it, it might be a great way to explore, right? Like, why is this character feeling this way suddenly appear, dressed into this type of of dress, right? Or a garment, right? So what I am communicating, because everything in film, everything that we are in touch with visually, it communicates, right? So the color communicates, the light communicates. If it's at night, if it's day, what they are doing inside of the scene, is it aligned with what they are feeling or is completely opposite what they are feeling? Are they hiding? So you have to go deep into understanding your character from a really, really deeply perspective and understanding who they are to this story to be able to make those that decisions. Because sometimes it's not just what you want, it's more what the story needs in that moment. It could be a solution, let's say, like if we add that color, but it might not serve the purpose of what we have in the environment. If you want to convey that, it's perfectly fine because it aligns with the story. But if it doesn't align with the vision, that's something that you have to keep. No, that's not the color. Let's go back to what we had envisioned at the first time because this happened after this a scene, and this is the transition that this character is going through. So it doesn't serve the story at the end.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I appreciate you giving us that lengthy answer so that I understand it. Okay, now let's talk about post production and distribution. So let's chew on post production first a bit. Could you walk us through individually the steps involved in the post production process? I think our listeners should be aware how the post production works and how the distribution works. So let's take post production first.
Yes, of course, happy to. So in the post production, you go to different steps. It's a journey as well as the other previous production parts. So once you have all that raw footage that you actually film, there is this amazing time that you go to the editing mode. So that's the first part of assembling that footage that you already shot. It really involves, selecting best takes, what are the takes that actually work for the film. The editor will work closely with the director most of the time. It could be other people involved as well, depending on how studios or distribution companies work. And it will basically shape the narrative. So that's when you apply all the pacing, all the right rhythm. You actually will film a different story. You will cut a different uh, movie, right? So movies are made three times. You script it, you film it, and you edit it. And in that process, it's like, well, you will feel that everything is going, flowing smoothly, and it will make sense to the story. It will make sense at the end of the day. So then you go to the sound editing and design. Sound editors will work in all the audio, the dialogue, all the ambient sounds, all the sound effects, like Foley artists. I don't know if you have seen in many TikToks or Reels, how
What is
Foley
Foley
artists
artist?
actually. So Foley artists, what they do is that they recreate sounds. So every footstep that you hear, every door opening, every anything that is in the environment that it needs to be recreated, most of the time is not the actual sound because it doesn't sound as compelling, or you might want to emphasize in some things. So those things are recreated inside of a studio. And if you look for animated movies, they even they go, wow, it's an amazing thing to do and to watch because you will be surprised on so many various things that they use to actually create the sound. You wouldn't even thought that maybe a letter
Yeah,
would make that type
I
of
think I've
noise.
seen these videos on YouTube. They use a broom or something
Yeah.
else, to make these noises. Yeah, continue. Sound design, sound editing, and design. You said. Continue. Foley artist. Continue. I'm so sorry. That was
Yes.
interesting. You know what? If
No,
anybody
it's
who is
perfectly.
listening
It's
out there
wonderful.
who is a Foley artist, or I think that's what you said. Foley. Is that the correct way of pronouncing
Yes,
it? Foley.
Foley art. Yes.
Okay, so if
Yes,
anybody
that's
who's
correct.
listening is a Foley artist, please DM me. I would like to interview you and understand how you recreate these sounds. That's gonna be interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, that would be an amazing, amazing interview because definitely is a whole world. How they internalize that to be able to create it in that way, and that we enjoy it in that way because audio at the end it enhances so much. And then you will go to the music composition and the score. That's when a composer, it's really also incredible to watch how they can convey to the emotion with the music. And they will watch the footage, they will watch the scenes, and they will come up with the right music, the right note at the right time. And that just adds so much emotion, so much depth, so much to that atmosphere of storytelling. So once that music is synchronized with the visuals and the sound effects and everything just begin to make more sense. If they're going to visual effects, then usually they work at the pair because most of the times they have the raw footage as well, and they will go and they will also alter any backgrounds, anything. So most of the visual for artists are also really involved inside of the production part because there is so much that you have to take under consideration while you're filming the movie as well. So after that, and you put all these elements to be more realistic, um, you will go to color grading. And this is an amazing and important process because now you have to make all this color and contrast and everything look consistent and achieve the desired look for the film. So all those things that you begin the process in the mood board and that you prep your lighting for it, now it begins to make more sense because now you can feel and go through the motion, use the color grading, um, put all the scenes that you don't think like we film this in a different spaces, different light, different anything, right? So it feels smoothly. Then you will have like the title sequences and graphics added to it. So those amazing graphic designs that you see in movies that actually there is a lot of recognition around that too. That prepares you, that open up, that share who is part of the movie, all the credits. That's so well thought as well. Like not in all movies, but there is few movies that has been like incredible sequence around that. So then you have like the final sound mix, and that when everything just come together and it's just finalized in the post production room. So that's that's the goal. I think like that's when you know that the film is ready. And then there's like, extra processes like if they go to quality control, obviously you will get review the film, look for glitches, look for errors. And also you will go into focus groups as well to watch the movie to see how they are feeling about the movie and if they need to change something to adjust something. It's basically how it works in marketing as well. And then you will have the mastering, which is basically the digital master of the movie that is prep ready to go to the theaters, the DCP, all the digital files that goes to platform for a streaming, and then it will final deliver. So whether your film now is ready to be distributed at theaters or they are going to streaming platform first or DVD or obviously we don't use that much DVD and Blu-ray no more. But it's a technology that I think like it will end up happening as the discs, long play discs that are coming back. What is the right
I have no
name for
idea.
them?
I thought it's obsolete.
The big black ones. The big black ones. Oh, they are coming back. They are
Vinyls,
coming
you
back.
mean?
A lot of people.
Vinyls?
Oh, yes. No, no, I don't know exactly the name. I completely forget. But now, even in platforms and streaming platforms, you can actually acquire instead of just everything being digital. I think like people in general is changing to want to something tangible as well. So I I haven't seen that come back in the DVD or Blu-ray, but because we're seeing it in the musical industry, I think like they might come back soon. Um, and then, you go through that process of marketing and promotional. Of course, you need to do a lot of marketing for the release of your film, and that involves premieres, that involves so many amazing steps that you have to take after everything is ready to bring audience to any platform, any outlet, to people to enjoy the movie, because at the end of the day, that's the end goal, that people can feel with that amazing story.
There's so many steps involved. Let me just backtrack things a bit. You said, if I remember it right, you said editing and even sound editing. Then you said something about composing, uh, visual effects, color grading. You spoke about graphics. Then I heard you said something about again sound, the sound mixing or something. Why would you have two stages with sound? Like, what's the idea behind that? I mean, haven't you done already the sound editing before? Why would you redo it again? Is there another element into it?
Yes, because on the final sound, you will have the final mix. So now you have all the audio elements, everything that everybody create, including, the dialogue, the music, all the sound effects, the music, the soundtrack that we talked before. So it's like putting everything at one line, right? So you need to have that final mix. You have to take under consider the levels, like anything that might evoke that quality control that we talk about it. It goes to that final sound mix. It's really important, that part, because it's who will convey all these little pieces into one. Because usually, those music compositions, sound editing, that part is done separately. So now you will integrate all those things or all these elements into one final mix.
This is very, very interesting and this is super cool. When you said about mastering, that means creating the final version of the film in different formats. What kind of storage space are we looking at for the whole thing? Including the one for theater, streaming. Is it a lot? Is it in terabytes or exabytes? What kind of storage are we looking at? Like, are you there?
Sorry, I was trying to mute. So it all depends. I think like because of technology nowadays, you are able to um, to compress that. It was really different when you had films that was in a reel, right? Like 35 millimeters, and that was the final part. But nowadays, it could be like um, depending on the range, because lately streaming platforms, they are requesting 8 um, K for their movies, for their
Did you
as a
say
requirement.
8K?
Yes, and most of
8K?
them are
Okay.
migrating. Yes, and most of them is it digital. They are migrating to 16K. So we are getting there also on that. So it depends. I would say like if you're looking to HD 2 hour movie, you can get 6, 8 gigabytes. But if you're going up and we are talking about 6K, 4K, of course is way more, right? So you're looking to 20K, sorry, 20
20 gig.
gigabytes for a, yes, for a
Hey Claudia, let
4K.
me let
So
me
it's
ask you, like,
it's really that range.
once you have all this master files, and I understand it might be 20 gig, whatever. How do you safeguard
Yes.
it? Like, how do you keep it safe just to ensure that, over the course of time it does not get corrupted and stuff like that? Where do you keep it safe? Do you have like a storage facility you dump all these things at, or do you keep it at home? Like, how do you protect it from so that people don't steal it, the original version, and stuff like that? I know it might be a silly question, but I just wonder, where do you keep all this stuff?
That's an interesting question. I think like that goes because of the production process. Usually, what you get is a lot of DCPs that are actually, audio, video, and all the metadata files. They are configured for those servers, so you get that into that format. There's many ways to store them because you have hard drive. You definitely need a lot of backup of your content. You might need to get backup for the individual. I love to have like the raw materials, everything in place, so you never know if you need to tap into those afterwards and make like a different editing, right, or final editing. So it definitely depends. It's like conservation process. I think like before on the film side, on the actual film, it was different because you have to take care of so many steps to preserve that film because it was actually tangible, right? And there were a lot of um, conservation that they just dedicate to preserve movies in that format. But nowadays, because everything is digital, it's mostly about that. It's mostly about to have like different copies, the DCP, and that you can access those whenever you are ready to. Um, it's I would say like it's a different process, but it's kind of what you do when you try to save multiple multiple files of the same file so it doesn't get corruptive or you can access to them afterwards. Digital's changed a lot of things. Before it was so much things involved because you have to take care that doesn't get in light, or light can affect those roles. But now it's a different thing. It's more about a storage space, I would say.
Yeah, that is super cool. I appreciate you sharing all of that. Okay, now let's talk about distribution because I know it's kind of a very complex and dynamic phase in filmmaking, and it does require a lot of careful planning, negotiation, and marketing efforts based on some of the things which we spoke offline with regards to this episode. So, could you walk us through the step when it comes to distribution, which is the very next stage after production?
Oh, yes, of course. I think distribution is one of those things that you have to take it under consideration beforehand. So most of us as filmmakers, we usually wait for once you have your movie ready. And honestly, I if one advice would be have that under consideration beforehand. Try to get near to a distributor or as someone that can help you out to plan that final stage because distribution is so important. It's kind of like how people will finally watch your movie. And you have to take that under consideration before filming because there are so many things that you can add into the script that if you don't take under consideration the distribution side of it, you will be missing a lot of opportunities. And sometimes if you don't take under consideration certain specific technical aspects, that means that you cannot be distributed in the streaming, or you cannot go to this platform, or you cannot do this or that. So really taking under consideration that can save you so much, can open you to different distribution options that you will not have if you didn't take that under consideration before. So just that, because I think like that really, I cannot stress it enough because sometimes it just goes so overlooked and you end up with a film that you cannot distribute the way that it should. Even though if it's a great story, it is a wonderful thing to share. sometimes they cannot even do it, even though they would love to do it. So having that under consideration and going through that distribution strategy, right? So you have to have those things in mind where you are heading to. What type of platforms do you want? Are you going to a theater? Are you going to streaming services? Are you plan to go to TV? Are you working on a series? Are you working on film? How many episodes? All those things that you, after you took under consideration and plan to do that, then um, you can decide if you want to go to film festivals, because sometimes you need to go with the film before you do any distribution agreement or before you go to a theater. So you have to understand those things before. It's really important that you have that in mind. I will keep stressing a lot this because sometimes we get lost and our film get into just there into a shelf. Then once you go to film, there is a great way or window to get exposure with distribution companies. And after that, if you decide, then they will go to a theatrical release. There are a few film festivals that actually require that you did theatrical release before. You have to have those little details under consideration because you don't want to miss opportunities. Other part is digital distribution. So you will go to platforms like Amazon Prime, Netflix, all the distribution platforms that now we have, streaming to TV. Now there's a lot of networks that are going into streaming and they're opening their own platforms, and it's so amazing too. So international distribution, this is something really to get into consideration as well beforehand, because there are so many things. If you make a deal with one distributor and you just sign it for US, let's say, and maybe you're trying to get another deal with another international distributor, um, that could affect your distribution process. So that's why I cannot stress enough to really understand your market and where you want to go, because it may be someone that is really interested in have the international distribution release for that film. And if you already have a deal for one part of the world, it might jeopardize the other deal. So really understand that process. I really encourage you to do that because I've seen so many things lose so many wonderful opportunities because of those little details. Marketing and promotion are really important. You need to have a reach. Lately you've seen a lot of actors and actresses and going to premiere in different part of the world just to do that, because I think like we are paying more attention to it too. You need trailers, posters, social media campaigns, press releases, opening in that country, in those countries. After that, I think like, audience is the main focus here. So you need to have that engagement. You need to have people to talk about. Lately, one of the things examples that I can think of is Barbie. I think like they did an amazing campaign of engagement beforehand. It, besides what you might think about the movie, that part apart, I think like the release and the expectations through marketing, everybody using the stickers, the uh, kind of the posters to create their reels, that just create an engagement through the audience using social media that I think it was amazingly powerful. They really tap and convey and unify those two mediums to make the film successful.
Wow,
And
there are so many.
mhm.
Oh, there's still more.
Oh, well, yeah, basically, after you do that,
Go ahead.
you want to track your revenue, right? And I was just going to point out, you can go to, um, let me see, I think it's Box Office Mojo. Let me
Okay.
just confirm if it's the right link.
Okay, I think box
And
office is
over
just the
there,
medium how they track like what's your score, like
yes,
how. Okay, okay,
yes.
that's what box office is for. Okay,
But those Box Office Mojo actually, and it's like that, help you to track. You can see over there like all the revenues of movies, um, top 23, 2023 movies like worldwide, how much they were able to have revenues around, right? The revenue of that movie, the income earnings of those releases. So if you want to have like a little bit more insight of what are the real numbers, that's a place that I can tell you or that I can recommend you to go. You will go to awards, you will go to, recognition, of course, that goes with the, um, if you get to the Oscar, to any type of awards and recognition that you have there around the industry. It's wonderful to have it under consideration in this distribution long process, as you point out.
it
It
is
is
it
a
is
long
quite
process.
a lengthy process. So from what you said, I think the main part is that as a person who is investing in this film, producing and directing it, you need to know what kind of distribution strategy you want to utilize to make your movie a success. You have to be careful with the deals which you sign up. Look under those fine prints. Make sure that it's getting all the hype and exposure the movie requires, and it also it's reaching the right target market. So let's say that let's say it's a Hispanic movie, then you probably may want to target towards uh, you know people or Hispanic people, so that they reach. I think that's what you're trying to say. It would be pointless to let's say advertise it to Indians, because that would be just a waste, and people may just watch it just for the heck of it, because there is no guaranteed results which you are expected out of it. So be careful with your international distribution strategy. Be careful whom you say yes to. I wanted to actually explore a bit about this film festival thing. I'm guessing everyone has to go through the film festival route, or could you tell us? Could you perhaps make us understand, or make me understand at the same time, what is the role of this film festival, and why do filmmakers focus so much on film festival for exposure and recognition?
Of course, Jason, love to. So, film festivals are important part. Not everybody take that route because if you get a deal, maybe as a part when you're in the pre-production process or in the production process, and you get that distribution part, sometimes they skip that part. It's not a requirement, let's say. But film festivals are really important because they just allowed you to go, to be present, to showcase what is your film about. And they also help you to get reach because there you will have the most, the biggest film festival has the most important people in the industry, right? Like who can actually buy your content, your film. So it's really a great exposure for them. It's a great exposure for recognition as well. Like you're looking to create something around the film. And basically, what it happens is that after that, because there is a lot of press, there is a lot of, if it's an extended innovation at the end, that matters. And all those type of things will go to your marketing as well process. If you watch a movie and you see um, any type of recognition at the beginning or why this outlet, this important magazine or press mention about the movie, most of those happen in inside of film festivals, and that's a great way to gather that and to create this hype around the film as well. Get better deals, you will get diverse audiences there. There is a lot of critics, there is a lot of industry insiders, and of course the public that attend to those festivals. So, as any event, networking is a plus, is a huge thing for any business owner and any filmmaker. It's great to build up relationships and connect. And from there, you can tap into different future projects with it's great investors, distribution, mentors. There's so many amazing people that you can connect going into film festivals. Also, we talk about the recognition. I think like receiving that critical acclaim is really important. We talk about Sundance or Toronto International Film Festival that
Do
year.
you make money
There's so many.
from the film festival, Claudia? Like, I get the idea about the exposure. So when you play these movies at these film festival, do people actually pay you to watch this movie, and do you get a cut out of it? Is that, or is it just free? Like, how does it work?
So basically, you are getting accepted. It's when you are, let's say, when you're going to a contest, right? You pay an entry fee to attend to that contest, or you get an special invitation. And there are thousands and thousands of, of signups, right? So submissions. But not everybody get into it. So just getting into it is an amazing thing, is a win by itself. So you are looking to get into the film festival because it brings so much value to your piece. Then, of course, if there is like a reward, if there is like a recognition, some of them might give you at the end any type of reward, right? Or recognition or trophy, but it's not about what they will pay you, right? You will cut like deals like around distribution and other things and build relationship, but it's more about that and getting distribution. That's, I would say that that's the main focus if you don't have it yet. Um, and getting accepted and having that to your movie. It was accepted to official selection too. It was a winner of this category. It was a winner of the or people choice or audience choice. I think like those type of things, what it does is like value and validate your project before going to the huge platforms outside.
All right, that makes sense. That really makes sense. Uh, and I get it. You pay a fee, you get into it, you find the right people, ensure that you get the exposure, build the connection, which your film so deserves, so that you can take it to the next level. And you get, I think you not only get that, you also get media coverage. You also get good visibility. Sometimes I think you might be a new director, and maybe your thing, what you have created is simply a masterpiece, and people will fall in love with your directing style, and they would be like, holy shit, this is super cool. Like, I really like the way how this person has done it. I think it also helps them to have a much more wider reach, which is super, super cool.
Yes, you mean critically acclaimed. Yes,
Acclaim.
yes, of course. Yes, that goes into that process, and it's really part of the film festival circuit. One place that I would, if you don't know that much about film festivals when they happen, there is a film festival for every niche, every category, everything that you can imagine. So one of a directory that you can go and check that a little bit more information about that is filmfreeway.com. They are a directory. So basically, you can see how much it costs, what are the requirements, when that is happening, where is the date or late submission, all that really nice information that you can get in order to prep for that amazing film festival circuit if you're planning to go that route, of course.
Yeah, just in case, guys, if you're listening to us on LinkedIn, I think I am actually posting these links which Claudia is referring to. The first one was the boxofficemojo.com. You should be able to find this on the show notes or the event notes. And even the second one, which you just said about film festivals, is filmfreeway.com. I was able to deep dive a bit more, and I realized there is a separate category called film festivals, and it lists you all the film festivals which are taking place, which I think is super, super cool. Anyways, what I want to say, guys, is that let's actually take a break because I know we have been speaking for quite some time now. Let me do a sponsor shout out. And in the meantime, if any of you guys are interested in joining the stage, asking Claudia a direct question, please do not hesitate. Please raise your hand. I would be happy to bring you up. And let's actually take a break.
Are you a professional speaker who has been dreaming about getting paid for the value that you deliver for your talks and workshops? If so, the Get Paid from the Stage program was created for you. During our 6 weeks together, I will give you all of the tools, templates, and guides you need to build a speaker package that will get you noticed. You'll learn the sweet spot for pricing your talk, how to negotiate with event organizers, and how to ask for additional value that you are missing out on. The next Get Paid from the Stage program starts on October 14th. Be sure to sign up soon because seats are limited to no more than 10 participants. Be sure to mention Jason's podcast when you register, and that will give you a 1-hour one-on-one with me at no additional cost. I can't wait to see you get paid from the stage.
All right, shout out to Carla Howard, who has been a guest on my show, and she's also a sponsor for my show. And she's actually doing this 6-week paid program, get paid from stage program. It's a 6-week thing. Scheduled to kick off on October 14th of 2023. Some of my listeners have actually subscribed and signed up for this, and they have all given me a thumbs up that the 6-week course is transformative, worth the money which you are investing in. It's actually less, according to them. So there are limited seats. I think she spoke about 10 seats which were available. I would highly encourage you to take advantage of it. The link should be available under the show notes and the event description. If you want to listen to the conversation which we had with Carla, I also have her episode listed under the event notes. You should be able to find it. Give it a listen. How to become a 5-figure speaker. She knows her stuff. I would highly encourage you to take advantage of her. I do not recommend people who I don't agree or I don't think they are genuine. You may have guessed it by now. On that note, let's actually, get into the Q&A. I wanted to welcome first Jose on Clubhouse. Jose, nice catching up with you. It's been so long. How are you? And, do you have a question for Claudia, or would you like to contribute to this conversation since you're on stage?
Hey, Jason, Claudia. Definitely happy to be here. I think when it comes to films, I know that the distributions, the marketing, that almost looks like own production too, to capitalize on. Very when it comes to like a film movie being that or a documentary. How does that differ?
Oh, thank you, Jose. That's a wonderful question. I think like every piece of content has their own, it's basically the same way, but their own way. I know that that sounds confusing, but what I mean is like if a film will be tied because it's international release, so you might be seeing a lot of more promotion in each country by it separately. Like when you see these movie premieres happening in every part of Asia, or Europe, or here, like in US, or every content, every other important market that movie is conveying to that audience, that's a whole new level, right? As you mentioned, it's a whole process by itself. But when you are releasing a documentary, sorry, that might be in a smaller documentary, I would say that at the end of the day is also how much resources you do have, but also how much creativity do you have, and how you can make that marketing count, how you can create buzz around a particular piece of content, documentary, series, film. Nowadays, because of the access of the technology, I think it's easier for um, a small production companies, or a small budget productions that actually can reach more audience if they really focus on gathering attention to create a good marketing strategy around it. Because that's something that I would say a lot of us drop, is really paying attention to that final piece, like how you can market your film, how you can take under consideration where are you going, where are you heading, what is the distribution process. It doesn't matter if you're just hosting it in your own website, right? Sometimes we think like we have to wait for many opportunities, and nowadays you do have like so incredible, um, not that costly, let's say, resources that you can put those things out and make it count, make people to talk about it. And there is a lot of people, kind of what happened with YouTube and music, right? Sometimes people will just go and share what they do, what they love, what they are passionate about, and then they go to make a movie about that, or they go to have like a record deal, because now people connect with them. They already have the audience. So what you're looking to is to actually captivate an audience that follows you, and it would be so easier to leverage that and to get better deals, to get better marketing, to make more connections. There are so many things, so many great things that can go amazing when you do a right marketing strategy in that sense. Doesn't matter if you have a lot of money, it can be a small thing, but you can make it happen.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really like that you explained was knowing beforehand channels, what audience, everything, because it opens up so many possibilities, like during the film, for you to actually, hey, record this extra little piece that's gonna create hype, or an intro when they're doing a certain scene, because you know that's part of the buzz, that's part of the stuff. So definitely, super excited, and thank you so much for all the great information.
Awesome, awesome. Jose, would you like to ask another question? We don't have too many people on stage. If you like, you can.
Sure. Can you speak a little bit on averages of like it's what people would take from small films, medium film? I know this is it's so broad because it really matters the scope, but we see a lot of small filmmakers, get started, get going. But for someone to have like a good chance at getting into the industry, or what kind of categories would they need to, or what kind of budget would they need, for some a good production?
Wow, that's a really interesting question, I would say, because as you said, like it's I think the focus should be the story every time and every process. If you take under consideration the story and what served the story, it's easier for you to understand what your story needs because that will vary your budget. So if you need a lot of special effects and it's an action movie and you know that you need a lot of safety and you need, of course, that movie will be way higher in budget to be able to make it happen than maybe a drama that is set in one room with two actors, right? It's all about creativity. So you as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, you have to come up with clever ideas if you don't have the budget. If you are someone that can access to investment or you already have a well-known background, you might be able to get access to higher investments. But if you're someone that is, as you point out, like someone that is beginning this amazing and incredible profession, you have to take under consideration what is your story about and what are the things that are key to serve that story, and what is something that it might feel cool, it might feel amazing to do it, but it doesn't serve the story. And that way you can trim down your budget, have your feet on the ground, and begin to just do something that can help you to put yourself out there, to showcase your portfolio, to go with something that you can create, that you can film, and that you can begin your journey, especially when you're starting your career. Because you can create something with a budget that might be, $7,000, right? $4,000. Um, if you're in a film, as a film student, you might be even have access to, your equipment. So or a lot of students that will come and work with you and actually film that story and make that happen. So it's like a business. Tap into the resources that you have on hand, right? Like, what are your connections? What are the things that you can gather right away to be able to make that story happen? And if you do have like a medium budget, you can go for 1 million, more than that, for millions, like a big movies that cost many, many, many millions, right? But they can also generate a lot too. So it's more about what serves your story and be clear about that and then making it happen.
Awesome, thank you. One follow-up just to that. Is it much more, I know technology is kind of advanced, and if you have this experience, is it a lot more expensive to like add some CGI stuff? We have a lot of enhancements coming out now versus a real scene. Like I wanted to film something in the mountains in Hawaii or something, and I didn't have that, or I actually add that through technology. Does that change a lot, or is that a big cost to add that kind of stuff to films? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yes. So usually a cost for CGI and all that process is really, really, really high, right? Because you have to go to different shoots, motion, like a studio, like there is a lot of a process involved. But yes, as you point out, there's a lot of technology that is coming out. One that I can think of is Wonder Dynamics. They have been creating uh, basically, well, it's amazing what they are doing, right? Because when you try it, you feel like, oh, it's pure magic, right? Drag and drop. It just feels like that. Um, there is a process, of course, behind. I think like technology will allow us to jump or to cut time and resources, but the quality and the process that you have to follow through is the same. So one of my advice is like you have to know your craft and you have to know it really prep for that, follow your passion, learn about it, because it doesn't matter what type of technology we have, like these enhancements, as you point out, Jose, is like you will be able to keep tapping into these things, but the core, their foundation, how to use the things, why this work, why this doesn't work, what this does not work, all those things you have to have it like as a first hand, as a base knowledge. So don't miss out the foundations. But yes, there's like you can go if you I saw today uh on Real Engine, and they are doing this meta human, and it's just amazing. And the quality of the rendering is a real human. You think that you are actually watching a video instead of a generated image. So there is so much to say, so much to tap into, to play around. What I think is like this open so much possibility for creators and for filmmakers around the world that you might not have the resources, but if you have the creativity and you have the story that can convey, definitely using technology would be one thing to do, as it happened with cameras before, when we jumped from um, the regular 35 millimeters to digital cameras. It was an amazing and incredible moment. Not everybody was happy or convinced or in that moment, but after time it just got to the place that we mostly film in digital. So I think like the transition again is a really delicate matter, technology, up until we find out exactly um, the rules, the things, the legalities, all the things that will come into place, I think. But meanwhile, I mean, technology is just it just amazes me every day.
Definitely. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for those questions, Jose. I want to welcome Wade on LinkedIn. Wade, do you have a question for Claudia, or would you like to contribute? I'm so sorry if you made you wait.
No, that's quite all right. Claudia and Jason, thank you for having me. This is such a exciting market segment to follow and observing the current lessons being learned. And your whole series, two-part series, has been so insightful. It's been fascinating. I have a question for Claudia. Excuse me. And it might be kind of a hard question or controversial question, but my question is, when there's so much money and effort put into a project and keeping relevant, how are the writers, producers, directors, studios now navigating the production and promotion, distribution, and actors when they have a story already done in the can? And when the actors in the field, such as, say, Rachel Ziegler, and they take a story and begin to virtual signal from it. And I guess a follow-up question is, how is this now changing the industry?
Well, thank you, Vay. I really appreciate your question. As you said, is a really controversial question, right? Because we are advancing in many ways, and many things are becoming easier, quote unquote, to do. But I think like going back to the core, right? So we as a human beings, we have so much inside us, right? And as you mentioned, an actor, and we talked about it that before when we were discussing how much you allow someone in your creative to convey into the story. So every human being has so much inside. If it's an actor portraying the story, how they will portray the story, it's something unique. And I think like that uniqueness is something that will not go away. I think like we have to care and value that. And I think like what technology will make us do is actually that, like understand, value, reevaluate um, the things that we can bring in to the table as a human beings. Um, yes, there's many possibilities. I think like having that core in tapping into technologies and making the process faster, that's one way of seeing it. There's a whole narrative about that and the use of technology. There is another narrative, of course, that is more like we need to focus and be what we have been doing in this way because it's the only way to preserve um, what we have to give as a creative humans, right? Um, there is a deep thing because what I would say is like every time that new technology erupts, it will be a major change. And I was talking offline with Jason, and one of the things that really amazed me is like at the beginning of the film industry, right? Like when they actually create that projector, and people were afraid because every time that they put a train on the screen, people will run away, basically run scared to death because they thought that the train was going to hit them. And it was such an amazing part to realize now that video and content and film and that industry have grown so much to the point that we cannot imagine ourselves without, enjoying a good movie, enjoying a good piece of content or video content. And that's part of our lives, everyday life. I don't think like there is anyone that haven't tuned in to a video, to a YouTube, to a movie to get some type of value from it or to be entertained with. Changes are complicated, but I feel like the answer lays within us, how much we recognize our unique and how much we can bring into. And again, as a producer, writer, director, distribution company, a studio, is like what type of agreement at the end of the day will be to protect that uniqueness and that integrity, and how much, us as a human beings we want to be involved. So it's a really delicate process, I would say, and it just put yourself to question so many things. My thing, because it's not conclusive, I would tell you the benefits from one side and I can tell you the benefit from the other side, right? And what we need to protect and what we need to take care of. But at the end of the day, it lies on a personal question. And if you can go deep and I would say like that sense of gratitude on that who you are, right? And who as a human beings we are, I think like that just goes above any type of technology or anything that we are discussing because at the end of the day, it was created for a purpose. And usually what we need to know is how we manage all those things, I think. I hope that helps, Dave. But if you have an input as well, I would love to hear yours.
No, that was fantastic. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm just uh, how the industry is navigating all these, you know, new technologies as far as AI and social media and so forth, and uh, how uh, everybody is putting in or putting their own input on these projects is just so dynamic, and again, as far as how the industry is navigating this and controlling things, is really interesting to watch, to because that will only uh, transfer over to other industries as well, correct?
Yes, and for me, one of the things that makes me think what you share is like technology also, what we think like is brand new and it's the latest technology and everybody is adjusting that. At the end of the day, it might not be the latest technology, you know. So I feel like if you take the generation that never heard of a DVD, right? Never used a DVD or have never used a long play LP or a vinyl record that we were talking before, they will feel compelled to have that because those things for them are new. That feels new for them. So I feel that technology is cycle as well. Like if you think when streaming just came out, everybody was doubting, then it was amazingly huge. Everything was through streaming. Of course, streaming platforms keep getting bigger, and you know, different studios are tapping also into their own stream platforms as well. But movies are still away, even though there has been challenges. There is a lot of people that are coming back to watch a movie, and these late blockbusters as Mission Impossible and Barbie just point that out because they made their gross sales from theatrical releases. So that means that it's possible to attract people back into the theater as well. So I feel like it's more about a mix, it's more about a cycle. There will be technologies that will be new for younger generations, and it will be coming back, or it will be a blend, you know, with new technology and old technology. But I think like all of them has amazing possibilities, amazing strength, and we should, you know, tap into that without losing ourselves in the equation.
Thank you so much.
That is super cool. Okay, so I want to actually do a
Thank you.
quick fun activity with everyone on stage. That is Claudia, Jose, Wade. Okay, because I know we've been having this serious discussion about making a movie. Now, I know both of you folks, Wade as well as Jose, you both know Claudia. You have heard about her passion for movie. Wade, you have heard the first episode of how to make a movie. So I think you are familiar with most of the things. So Claudia, why don't you ask the rapid fire riddle questions which I designed specifically for you, and throw these each questions to Jose and Wade, and let's see if they figure out what it is.
Oh, yes, of course. That would be that would be super nice. So, well, the first question is, I am a part of every film, but you never see me. What I am. Have you any idea? Jose and Vic?
All right, so it's a very interesting question. So it's from the topic which we have been discussing. It's about movie. I'm a part of each and every film, but you never see me. What am I? Any guesses, Jose? What was that?
Like the camera guy.
All right, what do you think, Claudia? Is that a valid answer, camera guy?
Well, definitely you don't see the camera guy. That could be that
All
could be,
right,
yes,
all right. So
of
let's hear
course.
from Wade.
Everybody that is behind the scenes, yes, that's making the film a great thing.
Okay, so let's hear from Wade. Wade, what do you think is the answer?
I was thinking both camera. I was also thinking writer, because without a writer, you're not going to have any product to be able to put forward to filming.
Yeah, I think that's a cool answer too. All right. So what about you, Claudia? If you were to answer it, what would you lean on to?
Well, I would say like Jose and they are both right because you can definitely you need writers, you need a script, and you don't see it, you just experience it, right? I would also add sound because sound you can just hear it and it's part of there, but you don't see it as a part of the equation.
That is super, super cool. Okay, okay. Next question. We'll try to be as quick as possible. Next, go ahead.
I am an essential part of a movie, but I am not an actor. What I am. What am I?
Okay, so let's hear from any of you folks. I'm an
The,
essential
the
part of a
background, like
movie,
the
but I'm
set,
not an actor. What am I? We spoke about this just right now in the previous question. I think one of you guys answered it too.
the set, like the background scenes. What's in the background, how you set up for the play.
Great
I'd have
answer.
to say,
Yes, that's
I'd,
definitely.
I'd have to say sound and music, because they can shift the dynamics of any scene.
What do you?
Such a great answer.
Yeah,
Answer. Both,
that is a
both
nice answer.
Jose, both Ray. Yes,
You guys
yes,
are crushing
yes.
it with your
Totally agree.
answers. All right. How about you,
This is
Claudia?
so nice. Well, yes, and I will agree with Bay and Jose. Both are incredibly important, and I will mention what Bay brought before. The script, the writer. The script is really important. It's basically what the actor is conveying, is portraying, and is really an essential part of the movie. It's where everything begins.
All right, all right, all right. That is super cool. Let's take one more question before we wrap our interview. One more question, Claudia. Which one would you like to choose?
Perfect. So, let me see. I'm a critical aspect of filmmaking, but I am not the special effects. What I am. What am I?
Any guesses, boys?
The audience.
Distribution.
I heard audience from Jose and distribution from Wade. All right,
Yes.
Claudia, let's hear your
Well,
take on this.
thank you, Jason. Well, I think like I love these open questions because there is so much that come to mind, right? I think like you both, I totally agree with you both. It's really important, those parts, and they are really critical of a part of filmmaking and a movie. So I would say like one of the things that brings a lot to movies that is not a special effects, but you can do so much with it is the custom design. So if you think about movies, the way that they are dressed, it just impacts so much on how you perceive that character. So I will go with that.
That is pretty lovely. So, any of you listeners checking out on replay, if you like to answer any of those questions which Claudia just highlighted, any of those three questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us by sending us a message on Spotify or Apple. I don't think that is possible, but there might be social links available. You can message us directly on Instagram, LinkedIn. Let us know what are your thoughts on it. I'll try to see if I can create a question, like a poll or something of that sort, with the event. Now, before we wrap things up, Claudia, I wanted to ask you a personal question. See, every person on earth has a mission, has a purpose, has something which they mostly so desire. Now, out of all those things which you want to do in life, what is that one thing you want to be remembered for? What would be a legacy you want to leave behind? Right, I don't know. She went silent with that question, Claudia. I don't know if you're aware. You're on mute. Did we lose connection? Wait, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. So it's
I can
just
hear you.
yeah. So I think it's just Claudia who we lost in action. So mic tap.
Hello,
Are you
hello.
there?
Can you
Back?
hear me?
Are you
Can you
there?
hear me? Yes.
Are you
Okay,
trying
now
to
I can
Google the
hear you.
answer?
No, no, sorry, I missed that part completely. You broke out, went into the, I don't know, other side.
Okay, okay,
Completely
okay.
went
All right,
out.
all right, all right.
Sorry, I missed.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I'll repeat my question. So, we all want to be remembered for something or the other. What is that one thing you want to be remembered for? What kind of legacy you want to leave behind? Leave behind.
Wow, Jason. That is an amazing and deep question. Wow, it's such an important question. I would say, quickly thinking,
Take your time. Take your
um,
time.
is that take my time? Yes, is that definitely a question to take a time. Wow. Um, I would love to go and think that every time that I was able to connect with someone, to talk with someone, to share a story, because sometimes you can share and connect with many more people when you do with filming, right? And content, but it doesn't matter if it's like that to multiple people or it's just like each person that I ever talk with. I would love to go with the sense that I make that person feel that they matter and that they were important and what they were doing matter and that they were unique just for that moment in time and that they will remember that. But that's something that's little seed that it will feel um, their uniqueness or that someone is present in their life, that they are valued, that they are cared. I think like that would be my my ask. It doesn't matter if it's true. I had a couple of experiences sharing content, and I think like that's why I am so passionate about stories because when you share something and then people from the audience come back and tell you um, with watery eyes if it's depending on the topic, but you hit something inside of me or you share something that I passed through it and that way of connection that is a deep connection using stories or just you as a human being. I think like that's for me that's the most important thing.
That is super cool. I certainly appreciate you sharing that. And thank you once again for being a part of today's episode. I think we were able to cover most of the things from part one and part two, and I think people should be pretty much aware how to go about making a movie. I'm not really sure what we're gonna do on next season 5 as to what I would make Claudia speak about, but we will figure that out, and hopefully we will have some interesting content for you guys. I wanted to let you know about a few changes which I would be making towards my show. First of all, I would be actually shifting the time period of when my show gets broadcasted live. So I'm thinking of moving it from 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of the reason why I want to do this because a lot of people from West Coast are unable to access my content because it's actually live way too early. So if I'm able to have that 3 hour time difference, it will be afternoon in West Coast. So most of the people from West Coast, even from countries like Australia and a lot of countries in Asia would be able to access my content a lot more easily. So that's the shift which I wanted to do from next season. I also want to let you know about one more episode which I plan on doing. I think next week I'm going to be taking a break because it was been a little exhaustive few weeks. I've been trying to do a lot of things at home. I'm actually alone at home, so cooking, cleaning, managing work simultaneously at the same time. These are all challenging things, especially when you're alone. So I'm going to be taking a break next week, but the following week, which is October the 11th, I have a very interesting person who has been on Adobe Live a few times, and she's going to be speaking about multi-sensorial brand design. Multi-sensorial brand design. Her name is Isabel. I call her Izzy. She's also a good friend of mine from Canada. And she is going to give us some interesting insights on this kind of brand building. I've not really structured a title or a description yet. I would be doing that in the next few weeks. If you are interested, please continue following my profile. I should be able to update more details about that event very, very shortly. So on that note, I wanted to thank Wade, Jose, Claudia, and all my listeners listening to my show. Thank you so much for making this a huge success. Financially, it may not be very viable, but in terms of exposure, in terms of making me meet new people, engaging with my audience, my listeners one-on-one, getting to know them, has been an absolutely phenomenal experience. If I compare that with money does not mean shit. Because beautiful and amazing people like you yourself and many others who I have met, I was able to harness and build good relationship. And all these guests which I bring onto my platform, whether you like it or not, it's actually an excellent opportunity for you to connect with them and even grow your network. You never know who's going to come handy when. You never know how they might serve you, or you might be able to serve them at some point. So thank you once again. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, wherever you're in the world. Claudia, you have an amazing day as well.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you all.
All the best.
for sharing.